This video is gonna be so long. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking about why I dropped out of college. I'm a role model. I'm 20 years old and I approve this message. If you want to see more from this channel, like, subscribe, comment, share, all that fun stuff.
Hey, what's up? It's editing Ariel. I'm just gonna pop in here from time to time to clarify or update anything. Enjoy the video.
So, as many of you know, I am currently not enrolled in college. So basically, when I was 6 years old, I decided I wanted to be a fashion designer. And I wanted to do fashion, I wanted to do design, I wanted to be involved in all of that. So when it came to my senior year, I was like, you know, typical 17-year-old anxiety. I was like, oh my god, I can't do this. What am I doing? I'm ruining my life. So I applied to a bunch of colleges for fashion merchandising. And my dream school, since literally I decided I wanted to be in fashion design, was FIT. So I applied there for fashion merchandising. I applied to Johnson & Wales for fashion merchandising, and I applied for LaSalle College for fashion merchandising. And eventually I got into LaSalle and Johnson & Wales, but I got waitlisted for FIT, which broke my heart. Between the two, I just chose LaSalle. It was a nicer area. I had a bigger scholarship. It just seemed like a better fit for me at the time. So I go to LaSalle and I go to orientation. And during orientation, I decide I'm gonna go for fashion design. I go to LaSalle September 2016. Love it. It's great. I make friends. And I think it's a pretty good place for me. Freshman year passes, it's getting harder, not for college reasons, because like LaSalle is like a joke. It's getting harder for me because I don't like school. I love learning, but I hate not doing work, but doing mindless work that won't actually help me with anything. So like if I'm making a dress, why do I need to write an essay about it? Like, it's just pointless. So whatever, I go back sophomore year, and the first semester is pretty decent. I have good classes, I'm enjoying it, but then I start hitting like really, really low lows. I've had depression since I was like 13, I think, like 14 maybe, and I've had depression and anxiety since then. I've always struggled with it, and then during my sophomore year of college, it got really, really hard for me. Single night I would just be in my room with my roommates, and it was like the same routine. We would watch a movie, we'd smoke a bowl.
I'm sorry to all of my children who watch me.
And I'd go to sleep, and that was my routine. But I wasn't really leaving campus. I just left campus for work. I never went into Boston, and okay, fine, that's my decision. I didn't realize how bad of a decision it was just for me and my mental health. And it was like, oh, I'm in this routine.
I think the biggest issue with me being in my room all the time was I was in this like jail cell almost, that I didn't see anything outside of it, and I was just looking at white walls all day long, and I like never left.
Not enjoying school as much, my depression's bad, and it's like not a great time. So second semester sophomore year, I'm so severely depressed. Like, I could not leave my room. I skipped classes all of the time. It was just a hard time for me. I did not like being there. It just came down to the fact that I wasn't enjoying doing fashion design anymore because it was so manufactured to fit the school standard.
So not only did I want to do design for menswear, there are so many limitations to what you can and what you can't do on what's supposed to be an outfit for your portfolio, and I just hated that.
And like, I hated going to sew. I hated creating my outfits. I was never happy with the final product, and it was just an awful time for me. And like my other classes, they weren't helping. I was working as much as I could. I had some other issues going on, but like I did not enjoy where I was anymore. I did not enjoy going to school. Funny enough, that semester when I was the most depressed, I actually made Dean's List. And like my grades were the best they'd ever been. I think that's just because some teachers really liked me. Like,
what I mean by that is like there was my zine class, there were 11 assignments and I did 1. So shout out to Patricia Roy for giving me an A- in that class.
So I finished the year and I just did not feel good about myself. I hated my life. I hated when I had to go to school. I hated when I had to go to class. I hated everything about it. Like, it was just too stressful for me. Everything combined. I had so much on my plate. I was working, I was doing cheer, I was obviously homework, classes, all those things. And I was struggling with my mental health, like, really badly. My depression was so bad that second semester. I like don't know how I made it out. I really don't. All I did was sit in my room and watch Jeopardy, which, like, I love Jeopardy and I love sitting in my room, but it was like the only thing I wanted to do. I wouldn't go to breakfast with my friends. I wouldn't do all those things that I should have been doing. I just hated not being in my bed. And when I was in my bed, I felt bad that I wasn't doing something else. So around March, I applied to study abroad in London, which I'd known I wanted to do since I knew about the study abroad program, and I would be studying fashion design at London College of Fashion. And I was psyched. I was so excited. I love London, obviously. Like, London has always, before I went there, had always had a place in my heart, not only because, like, One Direction, but I don't know, something about the city always had this massive appeal to me. I had this opportunity to go for the same price as my tuition, and I took it. So starting that August, I would be going to London, and I would be doing a semester there for fashion design. Now, that summer was really hard for me. I went through a whole lot, but after second semester sophomore year, I kind of realized I don't want to be doing fashion design anymore. Fashion design, well, yes, it's great, and I really enjoyed it at the time. At the beginning, it had lost its spark for me, and it wasn't bringing me any joy, bringing me any happiness. It wasn't doing anything for me, and I hated the thought of having to go back for 4 more semesters and just do this thing that I had came to hate. Like, I could not stand doing design. And that second semester, I took a Photoshop class. It was like digital design. So we did Photoshop and Illustrator, and I realized that I'm very good at that. That is like, that's the most confident I've ever been in a class. I loved that class. Everyone else hated it. Everyone thought it was the worst thing. I ended up like tutoring people for this class that I had been taking, but I found like my niche, what I want to do, and I really enjoyed digital design. So the summer in between the last semester at LaSalle and going to London, I thought a lot about what I wanted to do. And for a while, I thought, why not just do digital design? See if you can pursue digital design more, maybe work with LaSalle, create a major, because it's such a small school, you can kind of make your own shit up. So I thought, oh, I could work with that, I could do that. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, that's gonna be so much work. I should just stick with design. I'm going to London for design. I have all this stuff. So it was already in my head that I could be doing something else, something else. But in my mind, I just thought it was easier to stick with design, stick it out, choose the easier path than what would work best for me. So I went to London, obviously, and when I tell you, that was the best decision I've ever made in my life. So going to London, I looked at my classes, and one of the main reasons I want to go is because of the menswear class at LCF. When I was still doing design, all I wanted to do was design menswear. And then I get to LCF and they're like, we're not offering the menswear course this section. You can revise your schedule. So that gave me the opportunity to take out like 3 or 4 fashion design classes and put in other classes. I took creative visual communication, speed sketching, fashion journalism, and those classes helped me so much. The fashion journalism class made me realize I could be something like a fashion journalist. I loved that. That was my favorite class, doing research and putting out a piece about fashion that means something. Creative visual communication was working with Photoshop, working with all these apps to create visual pieces. So I put so much effort into these classes, and I realized that that's something I wanted to do. And I realized that fashion design really wasn't for me. I wasn't taking any fashion design courses. I was taking like the mandatory classes and like editorial makeup, but I wasn't taking any design classes. And that break, that semester, I've never been happier with school. Like, I was happier because I was in London and other reasons that I'll get into. But with school alone, I've never been happier because I didn't have to design. I didn't have to hate myself for that. Or when I was designing, I didn't feel happy. But when I was doing journalism and creative communication and makeup, I was so happy. Doing work did not make me want to die. It made me happy. And the other aspect of it was that I was no longer in a tiny suburb outside of Boston. I was in the middle of London. I could walk outside my building, walk down the stairs, and I was at a tube stop and I could go anywhere in London. And I've just never felt more free. I made some really good friends who actually ended up being from LaSalle, and I just didn't know them. And we made another friend, Georgia, who lives in London, and it was a great experience.
Okay, so I don't think I talked enough about my friends in London. Like, yes, London was an experience and I would have had an amazing time without having made best friends, but these girls, like, London gave me the opportunity to be my best friends, and like, I love them with my whole heart. And that's not the point of this video, but I just wanted to say I love them.
But being in the city opened me up to the fact that I didn't need to be in my room all day. I could go out and just get coffee and just hang out in a coffee shop by myself. We went to see the X Factor so many times, like the filming of it. Meeting Louis Tomlinson, meeting Liam Payne. Shook.
Like this video if you want me to make a video about X Factor and Louis and Liam. And
like, being in London, being in the city, it was like a freeing experience that I didn't need to take a 45-minute journey on the T just to get in the city. I could take 10 minutes on the tube and I'd be somewhere else, and I'd be able to walk around. And like, that was another part of it. In London, I felt like I wasn't judged for who I was. When I'm in America, when I'm in New York, Florida, Massachusetts, at LaSalle, any of that, I feel like I'm constantly being judged and criticized, not only for the way that I look, but for the way that I act. But when I was in London, none of that happened. I never felt like I was being judged. On multiple occasions, take the bus home wearing feathers all over my face because of my makeup class, and I didn't feel self-conscious about it. Like, it was just a freeing experience. I didn't have to deal with the anxiety of being afraid that, oh, I'm too fat to wear this. I'm not pretty enough to do that. But I felt free. Like, that's the only way to describe it. I felt like I could be who I wanted to be, and that sounds so corny. That's all I want now, is to be back in London, be where I belong. Like, I feel like that's my home now. I've never felt more myself than I was there, ever in my life. I've always struggled with the way I looked and what people thought of me, and I just didn't have that problem in London. Gotta just check what's next on my Harry Styles notebook. So about halfway through my semester in London, I was like, okay, you don't want to do design anymore. You want to do something more creative. You want to do journalism or something digital. You want to be able to use your creativity but not be the one making the clothes. You want to be the one taking those clothes and making something from it. So eventually I called up my advisor and I was like, hey, I'm trying to switch majors. What do you think? And she was like, yeah, you could. And like, it's late to do that. Like, obviously I was a junior in college. I was like, it's okay, I want to do it. So looking at my plan, the next 3 semesters of college, I would have to take the 6 classes that you could take like with your tuition, and then pay thousands of extra dollars if I wanted to graduate on time. And then I thought to myself, what if I drop out? What if I leave LaSalle and I go somewhere else? And ultimately, looking at the majors that now fit my new career plan, LaSalle didn't have anything. I would have to be a fashion communications major, which is like actually like marketing and growth stuff. And then I decided to go back to FIT and look at their website, and they didn't really have anything I wanted either. but the closest I could get was fabric styling, which kind of incorporates my decision to want to be creative, not have to be a designer.
And then I thought to myself,
what if I apply to LCF? And LCF's majors, they have fashion journalism, which nowhere in the US has. They have creative direction, where nowhere in the US has. They have all these majors that are so outside of the 3 fashion categories that you can get in the US, and I decided I was going to apply there for creative direction and pursue that. And that's where I am right now. I'm in the middle of applying to FIT and UAL LCF. So if I get into FIT, I'll be going to New York for fabric styling, and I'll be pursuing a career in that and use that degree for journalism or creative direction. And if I go to LCF, I'll be going and starting my life in London full time and going to school for creative direction and building my future from there. And like, I have so many other talking points about college and things, but realistically, I just stopped being happy at LaSalle, and I stopped being happy with my decision to do fashion design. And what was best for me was take a semester off and figure out what I really want to do, apply to other schools, look at my other options, and that's what I chose to do. That's where I'm at now. I'm in the midst of applying to 2 other schools, and if I don't get in, I technically haven't dropped out of LaSalle. I'm on a leave of absence. So if nothing really works out and I can't make it to either FIT or London, I will be going back to LaSalle. Ultimately, me dropping out was because I wasn't happy anymore. And my goal from now on is just to like be my happiest self. Like, I can't handle being back to the mental state I was in when I was in my sophomore year. Like, it was just such a bad, awful place. And like, I still have depression, I still have anxiety, and I still have really bad days, but it's not like a constant deafening thing anymore. It's not so bad that I can't get out of bed, that I dread leaving my room every single day. Like, nothing's gonna cure me at this point, but it's not debilitating. It's not crippling. Like, when I was at LaSalle, it prevented me from doing so much. When I was in London and living my best life, it was just like, oh yeah, sometimes I have bad days, and yeah, I have to work extra hard not to want to kill myself, but it wasn't, I could still leave my room. I felt happy. Me and my friends would go get coffee, and like talking to people and getting outside of your head, even for 3 hours a day, helped so much with me. Like, it was everything. That's all I can say. Like, London meant everything to me, and it changed my entire life, obviously, and I just can't wait to get back there. Okay, I think that's everything. If you have any questions, message me, comment down below, tweet me, all that stuff. Okay, anyway, that's why I dropped out. That's why right now I'm living at home in Florida and I'm working, and it pushed me to start my YouTube. Being in London made me realize that people don't give a shit about you, in all honesty, and if they do, fuck them. So I started the YouTube. I'm going to continue doing this. I'm hopefully getting a job very soon because I'm broke. Alright, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all the fun stuff. And that's the thesis. Don't cry, I just dropped out.